being recorded, please feel free to turn off your camera, or feel free to kind of change your name if you don't want your name. We will not be sharing any information about your name or who wrote what. We really are looking for just the common themes that we're seeing amongst the different schools. So that's why I asked you kind of to add that to your name so we know exactly which school you're coming from, because that's really what we're looking at. And so we will be compiling all of these. There's going to be 10 of these. We just had a session right before this, so we'll be compiling all 10 of them throughout the whole time while we're here. And so our agenda for today is we're going to do some brief introductions with our icebreaker question. Then we're going to jump into kind of our empathy mapping, where we're going to answer those 3 questions that I sent you in the email. And then the last thing is we're going to brainstorm kind of what the current state looks like for the future journey versus what the future state could look like for the student journey. So current versus future state. We will be using Jamboard to facilitate these discussions, and we'll have a link for you to access all of them that Jessica will be putting in the chat once we get to that section. So like I mentioned, we're going to start with a quick icebreaker question. And our question is, what is the general direction for where you want your career to go? So just having you share a little bit more about where you want your career to go. So I can go first. So my name is Jess Harley. I work in the Life Design Lab at the Homewood campus, helping out primarily student athletes with their career development. And for me, I want my career direction to continue to be impactful. So I really want to make a difference in people's lives as I move forward, whether it continues to be in academia or if I decide to move back to industry, whatever it is, I really want to make sure that I have some of that one-on-one interaction helping to make an impact. And then I'll pass it on to Jessica for her to introduce herself, as she will be the co-facilitator and I will be the lead facilitator.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Jessica Antonin, and as Jess shared, I'm the co-facilitator. I'll also help with some time management and chime in here and there. I'm at the Carey Business School on the career staff, but I'm also a part-time MBA student as well, so that grad school life is very real. And my path is also uncertain as far as the direction of my career. But in response to that question about the general direction for my career, I want to really focus on process improvement, project management, and data storytelling. So that is my focus. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Hannah.
Sorry, I was just shushing my children. My name is Hannah. I'm a DNP FNP student at the School of Nursing. So the direction of my career is being a safe and competent provider in primary care. I'm interested in chronic disease management. Diabetes is the area where I've focused my doctoral project and where I'm most interested in practicing clinically. And I live and work in Appalachia, so I'm interested in the intersection of rural health and health disparities and marginalized groups.
Fantastic, thank you so much. And then is it Aya?
Yes, that's right.
Can you go next?
Yeah, okay, thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Aya. I'm a graduate student at SAIS. So that's the School of International Studies. And in terms of my career, I'm really passionate about international relations, obviously, which is why I'm at SAIS, and foreign policy. So that's where I want my career to be at. And I really want to use my skills and experiences to be of impact and try to make a difference.
Thank you so much. Is it Raul?
Yeah.
And one quick thing, please, if I say it wrong, please correct me, because I want to make sure I pronounce your name correctly. So if I mispronounce it, please let me know.
Sure. Yeah. I guess it's like Rahul. But that's fine. I don't really mind either way. But I'm an undergraduate. I'm a freshman at the undergraduate school at the Krieger School of Arts and Sciences, and I'm looking to either go to graduate school and get a PhD, or maybe medical school. But still very early in that path. So we'll see where things go, I guess.
Thank you. And then Oladapo.
Yeah, thank you so much. My name is Oladapo from southwestern part of Nigeria. I had a background in chemical science, first degree in chemistry and master's in industrial chemistry. But I've switched paths. I worked for some time at the Center for Cardiovascular Research at the School of Medicine, Washington University, St. Louis. My interest and my direction is into being a physician scientist. I want to be a physician scientist. I want to train great and wonderful doctors, physicians, and engineers. And I want to take all of those things that I am doing in the lab, take it into practice, take those things from the bedside to bedside. Majorly, what I actually want to do is just like the training great and wonderful physicians and engineers, and make sure that all of those things I'm doing in the lab, I take it to my patient and make sure that it really works for them.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. And then T.
Hi, everyone. I'm in the Carey Business School, and long-term, I'd like to be a real estate developer. So multi-family housing or even commercial, but hopefully affordable housing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And Bajati. I'm not sure if you are speaking. We can't hear you. You're still muted. Oh, can you hear us, Bajati? Oh, there.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. And so we're just doing quick introductions. I know that you joined a minute late. So we're just doing quick introductions and sharing a little bit about where your general path is going, or you'd like it to go.
Yeah, hi, this is Bijadi. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay, thank you. Sorry, I'm driving. I was actually on a negotiation residency at the Carey Business School, and I'm driving to Dayton now because I have to attend a meeting there. I'm in the flexible MBA program. I just started in the spring. I'm an internist by training. I serve as a medical director for one of the health plans in Ohio, which serves about 1.8 million Medicaid members. There are also Medicare Advantage and other products under the insurance company. And what I would like to do using the MBA and the skills that I learned is really to try to connect the resources that are kind of scattered in the healthcare field. This became very apparent during the COVID. There were various treatment options available. There were various testing supplies available in different parts of the state, but there were still people getting sick and not getting the right treatment, ending up in the hospital. I do see patients in the hospital and in the office too, and do some telemedicine. So that's my goal, is to use the skills that I learned and to do something that will help to get the resources to the right people at the right time.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Awesome. Okay, so we are going to get started with our questions that we have for we do a rosebud thorn type of exercise where we talk about things that are going well, things that could be going better, or things that aren't going well that were failures, and then things that could be going better. So Jessica just put in the chat the Jamboard link. So you should all have access to that. How many of you have used Jamboard before? Okay, so one head nod. Okay, so I am going to share my screen and just kind of share how to use it. So give a quick tutorial and make sure everybody has access to it. Here we go. Okay, so Jessica's going to rewrite these tabs based on the schools that you all are in, so that we like to just collect this data just to know the differences between schools and such, so that we can make more informed decisions. But for you all, you're going to be using these kind of color tabs, and you're going to come over here. It's a sticky note on the left-hand side. And if you are in KSAS, then you're going to be using the yellow color. So you would say right here, but if you're in School of Nursing, you're going to be going over to green. So you're just going to click the color that coordinates with the school that you are in. So you can see blue is for Carrie, Bloomberg is pink, and then face is orange. So those are kind of the click, that's how you click them. And so the first question that we have is, how have you felt supported with regards to your professional development? So what types of things are happening in your school, in your organization, that might make you feel really like it was helpful? So that could be resources, it could be activities or events, or more just general information. So let's say networking event was something that networking events is something that's really going well, that you feel like it's helped you feel supported. So all you have to do is click that save button, and then your sticky will come up onto the screen. So if everybody could just add their first one, I want to make sure that everybody is able to add the sticky notes. And if you have issues, then we can kind of go through them before we kind of set you loose for that 2 minutes. So if everybody could just add one sticky note for kind of something that's working well in their school or in their professional development. And again, it's right underneath the little select tab. It's a sticky note, and you can change the color at the top to coordinate the color for your school. Awesome. So I see Carey Business School is going well. I see we got SACE, perfect. SICE, I mean, I keep saying SACE, SICE, SICE, and then we got School of Nursing. Oh, perfect. And then, okay, great. So it seems like everybody is clear on how to do it. If you're not, please feel free to reach out. If you're having struggles doing it, Jessica or I can help with it. And then we're going to provide 2 minutes for you to put down as many stickies as you can. If you see a duplicate, that's perfectly okay. You can put down your own thing. So just put them down. Jessica will be rearranging them in the background. So you don't even have to worry about moving them around. She will be rearranging them. Do you all have any questions before you get started? Okay, great. We will set a timer for 2 minutes and then we can get started. About 10 seconds to write your last one. Awesome. Okay, so now we are going, I'll just share my screen real quick again. We're going to use the arrows at the top here, and you're going to move to the next frame. So that can move to that second question. So how have you not felt supported with regards to your professional development? So what are some things that aren't going well, or like really big pain points that you've had from your experiences within your professional development? thinking holistically. So professional development includes research, it includes studying abroad, it includes really anything that's helping you move forward with what you think you're going to do after you graduate from Hopkins. So just use that little arrow to go to the frame number 2, and then you're going to use that same color sticky notes to add in kind of areas here that you think you have not felt supported in. Are there any questions? All right, we will have 2 minutes again. And we want all honest answers, so put down anything you can think of. We really appreciate it. About 30 more seconds. All right, finish writing that last sticky note that you have. And then use the arrow at the top again to navigate over to slide 3. And so this is kind of those opportunities that exist. So how could you be or could you have been more supported with regards to your professional development throughout your time here at Hopkins? So really any opportunities that exist that you think could help you have felt like you were better supported, or ideas that you have that would have made your experience better. So spend 2 minutes and 2 minutes kind of thinking through what could be, what could have happened. About 30 seconds. right, finish writing up that last sticky note. Awesome. So now we're going to spend some time kind of reviewing some of the insights that you all put and seeing some of the similarities that there are amongst the different kind of schools that we've had. So we'll start on slide 1. So how have you felt supported with regards to your professional development? Would love to see or hear from anybody about kind of some of those things that they feel like were working well, or yeah, like those things that they've really liked. So feel free to unmute yourself and kind of share things that you put down or that you see that are similar.
Something that I didn't get the chance to include in there was how like good, at least in my experience, like our academic advising and career office have been at publishing like opportunities, like whether that be internships, jobs, research opportunities, or anything that might be of interest to students. They're very on top of it, and I felt like they were supported in that way because it made it easier, at least for a student, instead of like trying to find those opportunities on your own. There's already somebody that could direct you in that direction. So it was nice.
And how are they publishing that, Aya? Are they sending emails? Are they putting it on the website? Kind of where are they placing that information?
Yeah, so it's mostly through email. So I get it through multiple offices. So the career advising office will usually publish that information. And then the area and my concentration will publish that information. And I also see multiple posts around just like campus, especially like at the library. We're a very small campus, so it's just 2-3 buildings. And so it's very easy to like see what's around just by like seeing flyers. But the main part has been through emails, and I would say like it's been multiple offices doing it. So that way, if like students are not subscribed to like the global careers like emailing list, and if they are on their like concentration, then they make sure like it's covered like either way.
That's great to hear. Thank you for sharing. Does anybody else have similar kind of communication coming from their career services office that's been helpful?
Yeah, I think that for like pre-health, at least we get like monthly newsletters, which have been pretty helpful because they really like delineate all the different opportunities that are available. But more than that, I just found really helpful, like more than like this telling us what the opportunities are, like regards to what I mentioned in terms of research, like just the amount, like I guess JHU is like a pretty notable research university. So like having the opportunity to like engage in all this research for someone who's like interested in grad school has been really helpful towards my future professional development as a future grad student, hopefully. Because there's just like a plethora of research available. Like if you want to get involved in research, it's not hard at all, which I think is really nice.
Yeah, it's great to hear too. It's easier to find, and that's more comprehensive than just the jobs or internships. Does anybody else want to add anything to this before we move to the next slide?
So I don't know if it counts as a part of the career services, but we have someone who's the head of the real estate and infrastructure masters at Carey. Well, at least the communications, and I guess she's the program manager. She does really well with finding individual people from like the board of advisors to have coffee chats with. But we don't necessarily get emails from the Career Center specific to our concentration, which is real estate and infrastructure.
Mm-hmm.
So she kind of fills that gap for us.
That's great. Yeah, that's great to hear that somebody is still providing opportunities for you to connect with people for kind of more informal conversations. Mm-hmm. I love that. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to move us along just for the sake of time to our next slide. If you have anything else and you didn't get to speak up because I know that we have limited time, feel free to drop in the chat. You can message either me or Jessica one-on-one if you don't feel comfortable sharing with everybody. So then now here's how have you not felt supported? So what are some of those things that you felt like there've been lacking or less of pain points for you within your kind of professional development. Does anybody have, T, I see you're unmuted. Do you want to share
Yeah.
first?
Yes. So as I mentioned, with the Masters in Real Estate and Infrastructure program within the Carey Business School, it's very small in comparison to the MBA program or maybe the finance program. We're kind of in a silo on our own. So a lot of the Career Center advice is, hey, find people on LinkedIn at companies you might want to work for and send them a message. And that's fine, but that's something that is driven by the student. And not everyone has the, I guess not everyone can do that. So there has to be some sort of, I guess, more focus and attention to that program, because, the same amount of energy is put into it by the students, and they're coming to get a really all-star education, but companies don't know anything about us when we reach out. And I know other grad schools have company or employer engagement teams that will call and solicit employers to come and check out their program and students from their program. And we do have really great people in our program that should get opportunities, but there really isn't a spotlight on this program in the industry. And then also for the students within the program, there isn't something that has a list of like companies that alumni have gone to that's really robust. When we go on the Career Center website for the internship document, I've pulled up 2 and they haven't been updated since 2018. And then there are maybe 1 or 2 companies under the real estate section. And so it's like getting a mom and pop experience, but in an institution like Johns Hopkins with all of the resources it has, it doesn't match up at all. And a lot of the students in our program are international, so it could be the reason why it's gone unnoticed, because there haven't been many people, complaining or asking for certain things, or they had their own resources and didn't mind and all of that. But for someone coming into it without the confidence to reach out to people on their own, without necessarily a clear-cut career trajectory, and without just, I guess, professional experience, it's really difficult to take this and turn it into something. Maybe, I don't know what the answer is, but I feel like the degree itself without an MBA should be fine to get you employed. And even on the website for the data, there are maybe a list of 5 employers or something like that. When you compare it to the MBA data on the Career Center website, it's just, there's really no information for us.
Thank you for sharing, Tia. I appreciate you being very honest and expressing some of these major pain points that you're experiencing.
Sure.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let me put in this. It won't be fair if I talked about I've not felt supported without talking about how I've been supported. So, I was given admission in 3 institutions, Yale and some other schools. And the reason why I picked Johns Hopkins was because it was a year program. So it's a year program. That's why I actually picked Johns Hopkins. There wasn't a funding for me, but other institutions gave me funding from WashU, from Yale. But I picked Johns Hopkins because it's a year program. But one thing that actually struck me was when I joined the networking team, working as a team has been so helpful towards my career. You meet different people from different regions with different cultural background. You mix with them and you talk with those people. They're going to tell you about their culture. They tell you about where they're coming from. They tell you about their experience. tell you about the professional development, and you are going to gain much more. Most of our work at Bloomberg School of Public Health are always a group work. You work in group, you discuss in group, it'll tell you much more about epidemiology of diseases, prevention, what is happening in their region, and now they've been able to tackle it. You hear real time what diseases is actually going on in a particular region. But let me say how I have not felt supported. And I wish there are adequate funding available for students. An institution like Johns Hopkins, I was given admission from Johns Hopkins around December 14, 2020, which was so early. And all of the schools gave me admission around January 28th, and Yale gave me admission, and I was funded. I was given funding. What should give me funding, like $40,000, but nothing came from Johns Hopkins. And they wrote there that I'm a great student and all of that. And I was expecting them to actually do something in terms of funding, but nothing actually comes from them. Most of the time I'm going to send an email and there won't be any response coming from anyone. It's really tiring. As an international student, the only means of funding is, through personal loan. And the only personal loan that we have is just, without cosigner, it's just Prodigy and M financing. So and most of those people, they might not give you anything. If you try to tell them, okay, I'm this and that, I'm schooling, they might reject your application, and there's nothing you can do about it. The only thing you could do now is just for you to just opt for a personal loan, which interest is going to be so high, or which are going to place you on something like collateral. Like now, one of my car is on collateral now. So I got loan from OneMain, and I have to put my car as a collateral. So all of those things are tiring. Emotionally, you have to receive lecture and all of those things. It's so tiring. I think Johns Hopkins can actually do much more better. All of these other schools, they gave me funding, and it was really great. But I choose Johns Hopkins because it's a year program, and with a year program, I could actually look up to other things I want to do after finishing from Johns Hopkins.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you kind of sharing, again, the struggles that you've had, especially around funding and being able to be comfortable in the roles that you're in. So I'm going to move us on to the next one. Again, if you have things that we missed, please feel free to drop them in the chat. I know we kind of touched on some of this while we were just talking about some of the pain points and talking about like maybe some more places you could feel supported. So I'm going to move us on to the next section. And if we have time at the end, we can come back and kind of touch on this again. But I want to make sure we provide an opportunity for you all to talk about current versus future state. So on slide 4, you can see we have kind of, we're looking more at the timeline. So we're trying to see what's important to have, throughout your time and your journey at Hopkins or right before Hopkins. So the first one is really talking about from the time that you were admitted to the time that you got your acceptance letter, you decided I'm going to be a Johns Hopkins student, to the end of orientation. So right before you kind of actually started your first class. We want to hear kind of what are some of those great touch points that you've had, some of the most impactful touch points, and then what could be some of those impactful touch points that you could have in the future state. So again, you're going to be using the same color sticky notes as you were last time that Jessica is populating onto our slides right now. And again, if there is nothing that you can put for current state, that's perfectly okay. Just start adding things to future state of what are things that you would have liked, before you're even here, to have heard maybe around, from anybody who will be helping you with your career development. So it could be study abroad, it could be our career offices, it could be research people, anybody like that. What are some of those most impactful touch points that you've had or would like? Are there any questions on this aspect? Again, it could be workshops, it could be resources, all that kind of stuff is included. And we're going to do 1 minute and 30 seconds for each of these, and we have 3 slides. So feel free to start populating them with any ideas that you have. About 30 more seconds. And feel free to move them to the side that coordinates. I know Jessica can kind of help, but all right, finish writing that last one and moving it to kind of that current state on the left or future state on the right to align. And then we're going to move over to slide 5 once you have kind of put those into place. And so again, we're going to be doing that same kind of thing. What are some of those most impactful things that you've had? But now we're looking from that first day of classes. So once you were first stepped on campus to that midpoint. So if you are in a 4-year program, that might be your 2-year point. If you are in a 1-year program, it's going to be halfway through that year. So really thinking exactly like what kind of touch points would have been helpful for you in that first half of your experience on campus. And again, you can put the things that are currently happening that have worked well, and then some of the things that you wish were happening, or if you haven't reached that midpoint, what you wish would happen in the future for you. So again, we'll have minute 30 for this if there are no questions. Awesome. Go ahead and start populating. About 30 more seconds. Finish writing your last sticky note down. And then we will navigate to slide 6. And now this is looking at that midpoint, so halfway through to graduation. So right before you graduate, what are the most impactful things that you need or that you wish you have before you graduate to help with your journey and help with your kind of next step after you leave Hopkins? So write down everything you can possibly think of. Again, we're big on deferring judgment. If you feel like you missed something from an old slide, you can always go back and add it to it. So feel free to jot everything down that you come up with for a minute and a half. About 30 seconds. Okay, you can write the last one down that you have, and then we're going to spend kind of our last 10, 15 minutes really discussing kind of what this current versus future state really looks like. So I'll just pull up my screen just so we have it as kind of a refresher. So looking at some of those most impactful touch points from admission to end of orientation, I would love to hear if anybody would like to share kind of what has happened and what do you feel like the future could potentially look like with regards to these touch points.
I guess career center slash advisor or academic advisor kind of as a welcome email, and not just like going over the program, but like other resources like the wellness and all of that to prepare us to start school. Depending on how long people have been out of school, it gets a little bit it's hard to readjust and go back to a full-time program. So preparing us for what's to come and just a warm welcome.
Awesome, thank you, T. And Bajati, I want to also provide, I know you might be driving, so if you have anything that you would like to share and unmute, feel free. And Jessica's been jotting down some of the things that we might have missed. So let me know, or feel free to just unmute if you have things you'd like to add. And I will move us on to kind of the second one. If I move too fast and you want to add something about the first one, feel free to mention it here as well. So now we're looking at that, you are on campus or you're in your program to that midpoint in your Hopkins journey. Are there things that you feel like are working well, or that you'd want in the future for those kind of touch points for your career development?
I think for
I know.
me personally, oh, sorry.
I go first, and then Hannah, we'll have you go next.
Okay, thank you. For me personally, I feel like there's more connection, like personal one-on-one with like faculty. That'd be really nice, and I wish there was more of that. Just because they have like such amount of like knowledge and experience that sometimes it feels like once lecture is over and class is over, then everybody just goes on to their own way. I mean, granted that professors are available for office hours, but there isn't necessarily like that outside opportunities to meet with professors or talk with them, or just to know their experiences on like a personal level. And so I feel like that would be really nice, especially with how like I feel like in my field, like it all kind of depends on networking.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point, and having that early in your journey is great too. Hannah, would you like to go next?
Yeah, just to build off of what Aya was saying, one of the things that did that for us, like our program's pretty much entirely remote, but we had early on in the program, we had like a weekly class that was synchronous. And that was really helpful, I think, for getting us to connect with like one professor and get to know them really well. And I felt like that helped integrate us into the program and with each other like early on.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. The earlier, the better for those types of close connections to get to know people can be really helpful. Are there anything else that we'd like to add to kind of this beginning part of your journey, so the first kind of half of your journey?
Yeah, for my program, OneUp has really been so helpful. Like OneUp mentoring and all of the alumni, they've been really helpful. Recently I met some of them. Some are in Harvard, some are in other school. I was able to meet some of them and had discussions with them. They were able to really tell you a lot about what they've done, what they've actually learned from Hopkins, and what they are really learning from where they are. It has really been so helpful. And joining student groups, most of our works are done, in the house, are done online. But if you are working with a group, you'll be able to really talk with them and you share your experience with them, and you'll be able to discuss all of those things. And through that, you have some kind of a free of mind, you have peace of mind. And even though they're unable to actually give answers, give solutions to your problem, but they will, in one way or the other, tell you, okay, don't worry, things are going to be better, things are going to get well. And through one student group, I'm the president of one student group, we've been able to organize a lot of interesting programs. Recently, we organized a program with an institution, Western Ontario University, Western University, and we've been able to really talk about a lot of things. And what we talk about was on opioid crisis, and we are able to educate people from different institutions. All of these things has really been so impactful. You talk with different people from different regions, from different institutions. We organized another one we call people from Japan. Most of those people that work with WHO, and we are able to share experience with them, and they are able to tell us much more about their career. So all of these things has really been impactful when it comes to being at Hopkins.
That's a great point. I definitely feel like alumni interactions are super helpful, and then especially just learning about shared experiences. So thank you so much for sharing that. And then we have kind of this from the midpoint to the end of your career journey, kind of main things that you're seeing here that would be really helpful as you're trying to navigate what comes after you graduate from Hopkins. Is there anything that anybody would like to kind of point out that they wrote down, or trends they see?
Maybe creating an alumni directory and surveying the students who have jobs or who got jobs after the program or during, and internships, and like where they're going, just being more transparent about the companies they're working with and things like that.
Yep, I love that. Knowing kind of where current students are interning or where they're going right after graduation early on would be really helpful. Thank you, T. Anyone else have anything kind of on this last slide of from the midpoint to the end of your graduation?
Maybe a boot camp of some sort, like an interview and just one session to bring everyone together and giving best practices for resumes and things like that. And I'll also just mention the international students. So just companies that are willing to sponsor their visas to stay on and take on internships or start a career with them. A lot of them just don't know, and it's not that they're reluctant to ask, they're just afraid or don't know what options they have.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel like that's something I've heard recently a lot more too, just not knowing exactly what options they have and how they can stay here or work for certain companies. Fantastic. Awesome. Well, we have about 6 minutes left, so I just wanted to provide this opportunity for anyone else to share kind of things that they think would be helpful in their career journey before we kind of say goodbye. If there's anything that we missed or questions that you feel like we didn't get answered that you wanted to share, we'd love to hear any other kind of final thoughts.
For me, my biggest purpose of coming on here really wasn't for myself because I can do things on my own, but there are a lot of people in my program that deserve great opportunities, and I just don't think they have the attention that they deserve. And especially the international students who are brilliant. And I just think we have a very small program, and we're transitioning back to the part-time. And I'm hoping that will widen sort of the reach for professionals to be able to join and work at their companies while representing the program. But really, the Masters of Real Estate and Infrastructure has a lot of overlap with the MBA program. And there are some opportunities that MBAs are getting and seeing more of that the MSREI students are capable of doing, because we have the same classes, a lot of the same classes, the core classes. So just, financial analysts and going to places like Blackstone, Brookfield, just all these big name places, and even consulting, like government consulting, things like that. We have the public-private partnership course. There just isn't, it's a little bit difficult to explore opportunities that you don't know are out there.
And again, like I said, we appreciate all the honesty in the feedback. So I definitely appreciate you kind of sharing and being an advocate for your classmates and colleagues, and sharing kind of some of their experiences or some of their pain points. I know we all really appreciate that. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to add before we just say goodbye? Go ahead.
Yeah, the only thing I want to say is this, that I think the instructors can really do much more better. I understand the state of things. I know they're not really happy. Most of them are not happy, trying to lecture online. Some of them want to be in class. I really understand all of those things, and they have to be more kind to students, in terms of, we really understand what you're going through. And we too, we're going through the same thing that you people are going through. So some of us too really want to be in class. We don't want to be online, but as the situation is, everyone has to really go with everything that is going on. So sometimes, you might try to feel like, okay, we're tired with the situation of things. We too, we are tired with it, but you still need to be kind to students. You still need to do things the way it ought to be done. There are instances whereby you see. Let me cite an instance of cost plus. There are instances whereby there could be mistake with cost plus. Cost plus is an online thing, and there could be mistake with it. It could make mistakes with the collation of, the right answer. It could pick wrong for the right and all of those things. I think it's really be good for those instructors to be more patient enough to look at all of those things thoroughly, because all of these things will make mistakes. There will be instances whereby you have to tell some of the instructors that they are mistaking all of these things, and they have to say, we don't think we could do anything about it, we'll send the result and all of those things. A lot of people might not really have the patience to actually check what Cosplot has done in terms of what he had given to them in terms of their grade. But these grades are the life of most of the students. It depends on it. A lot of people are going to graduate school, and if they are being given a grade that doesn't really what they should have had, is going to have impact on their future. So they should check all of this thing thoroughly. And if anything comes as a complaint, they should look at it carefully and say like, okay, the future of this people depends on it. We actually understand that they've gotten to a part in a stage in their career whereby they don't really need all of those things. But we do. We really need all of these things. We need it in order for us to further in our career. So I think it's really good they look into all of those complaints that are being made by students, look into it carefully before eagerly sending grades to the registrar. I think it's so important.
Thank you for that. I definitely think that's important to hear and review and take into account feedback from students. And so I know for the sake of time, we're right at 7, so I don't want to keep you all any longer, but do just want to say thank you all so much for participating and sharing your thoughts. Jessica, myself, and Paul are the kind of the team discovery. We are available to connect with you offline if you're interested in it. Our next steps are we're going to take this to the ILD, the leadership team. We're going to be presenting to them end of April, beginning of May. We also will be sharing kind of what we found from all of our discussions with you all, so you can see the final product that we will just ask you not to share too widely as we're looking to figure out how we will move forward with that. And the last thing I just want to let you know is to show our appreciation for you all participating in this, we will be sending you a $15 DoorDash code that you can use kind of at your own disposal whenever you would like to. But again, we really do appreciate you taking the hour out of your day to spend it with us. So thank you all, and we'll stay on if anybody has any other comments they'd like to add, but we appreciate you being here.
We're gonna stop the recording as well.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.